Basically, allergic rhinitis is a triad of sneezing, nasal discharge and nasal block in response to an allergen. That allergen we call an antigen, which may be either an inhalant like dust, pollen. It can be an ingestant like maybe milk products, egg, fish, prawns, etc. It could be even some medication like aspirin, if the patient is on aspirin, or some of the antihypertensives, or even it could be intestinal helminths like worm ingestions. So, the antigen could be anything, and in response to this, when the patient has these symptoms, we call it an allergic rhinitis. This is a IgE mediated inflammation of the upper respiratory tract, which later on progresses to the lower respiratory tract. Basically, allergy is seen all over the world, as you know, and the incidence of allergy is increasing. 25% of the world's population suffers from allergy, and when we consider allergy as a single unit, 55% of allergies constitute allergic rhinitis. So, allergic rhinitis forms the largest group of patients suffering from allergy. As far as the incidence is concerned, it's maximum seen between 10 to 30 years of age. So, the second, third decade of life is showing the peak, and male and female there is an equal predisposition, there is no difference as far as them. Usually the patients come with recurrent colds. It does not keep them in bed. The patients go to office, but obviously do not work in the office. They come with sneezing, nasal discharge, nasal block. There is irritation, itching in the eyes, itching in the throat, and if left untreated, these then go on to neighboring structures like the sinuses, the middle ear, the lower respiratory tract, and patients land up with asthma also. So, there are a lot of other situations where the patients may present to us with rather than just a nasal discharge or a nasal block. The main problem is the nasal block, but the nasal block itself makes them tired, they cannot concentrate on their work, it makes them drowsy, they do not sleep well. So, the basic lifestyle of a person, of a patient gets affected, their quality of life is not only affected, even their enthusiasm in work goes down. Clinically, they would come to us with sinusitis. The nasal polyps may occur, which again, I mean, such a distressing symptom that the patient has to breathe from his mouth. The patients may come with ear blockage, decreased hearing, or even ear discharge if it leads to a perforation, and postnasal drip, chronic cough, they keep on coughing whole day and night, or they may come with wheezing or rhonchi and asthma, basically full blown asthma. Yeah, there is definitely a diurnal variation. These patients worsen in the morning when they just get up from sleep. The discharge, the sneezing increases considerably. The reason is probably when they put their foot on a floor which is cold and they are in a warm bed, there is a change of temperature. So, vasomotor rhinitis gets added onto it. Or they may go into the bathroom and the basin, they just wash their face, suddenly cold water onto the face and the sneezing episode starts. So, patients worsen early morning and over the period the symptoms reduce. The clinical history is there is a definite familial incidence in this. If both parents are suffering from allergy, there is a history that even my parents had that, or grandparents had asthma. So, there is a definite genetic predisposition as far as allergy is concerned. Secondly, whenever one is stressed, stress would also trigger off allergy. So they are working very hard, stressed out, and this allergy factor increases. They come up with initial symptoms of recurrent sneezing, nasal discharge and block as we earlier discussed. But this now does not clear up, it gets into an infected sinusitis. Now they have fever, they have headache, and now that does not allow them to go to the office. So we lose man days. In fact, in the UK, sinusitis is the first cause of loss of man days as even compared to hypertension and arthritis. So here, unfortunately in our country, people go to the office, we don't lose man days, but they don't work in the office. So they basically, it not only affects their lifestyle, it affects their work, and they go into comorbid situations where they come over to a specialist. The clinical history is very apparent. It's just a family history. Then you ask them about stress, and other thing is, the diagnosis there on the face of the patient. Really speaking, there is not much that is to be extracted as far as history is concerned, because every patient of allergic rhinitis will be troubled by dust, will be troubled by stress, will be troubled by perfumes. As far as the triggering factors are concerned, one is that there is sudden change of climate, either from hot to cold or cold to hot. Secondly, it could be, as I said, stress, a sudden increase of workload or stress, or it could be a hormonal change, as far as female patients are concerned, or if the patient is suddenly in an atmosphere where somebody is smoking, as a passive smoker, this would trigger off, or if they have used a certain deodorant or a perfume and they get the episode. So these are all triggering factors where the patient's allergy gets exacerbated. To understand the comorbid conditions, it is important to know a little about the anatomy, and since probably you may not be so aware of the anatomy of the nose, you have to think of a structure which is the eustachian tube, a hollow tubular organ which connects the nose with the ear and the nasopharynx. So what happens, we are talking about allergy in the nose. Now this allergy causes the mucosa in the eustachian tube to block the middle ear, the ear gets blocked, and the same discharge comes into the throat, leading to lower respiratory tract infections. Now when we see the lungs, the same respiratory tract is a continuation of the lower respiratory tract. From the tip of the nose till the terminal bronchi of the lung, you have the same epithelium, pseudostratified columnar respiratory epithelium. The same epithelium gets into the middle ear. So whenever the patients are suffering from allergic rhinitis, which is not adequately controlled, it leads to infections in the middle ear, it causes pharyngitis, and it leads to asthma. As far as asthma is concerned, 80% of the asthmatics suffer from allergic rhinitis. So the moment you treat the allergic rhinitis, the intensity and frequency of asthma goes down. You treat the allergic rhinitis, post-nasal drip, cough, pharyngitis, tonsillitis goes down. That also includes the adenoids over here. The moment we treat allergic rhinitis in the ear, we have serous otitis media and suppurative otitis media, that comes under control. So these all include the comorbid situations arising because of allergic rhinitis basically. It affects their daily working.